Hi, I'm Gohar Vardanyan, and this is Strings by my Lessonettes. In this lesson, I'll be going over the basics of quality tone production. In classical guitar, we use a combination of flesh and nail to get the best sound out of the instrument. Now, in this video, I won't go into too much detail about the nail shape because that can be very individual, but I will say that the nails need to be naturally curved, not very pointy, without any bumps, dents, or sharp edges. So basically what you want is for the string to be able to glide over the nail without encountering any obstacles. And it is best to have them buffed, so use a buffer to make sure that when you glide one nail over the next, the surface of the nail feels more like a glass rather than sand. Now the angle at which you plug the string will have a significant influence over the tone that you produce. So with the same finger and the same string, I can make the guitar sound like this, and also like this. All I'm doing is just changing the angle at which my finger plucks the string. Now, tastes differ, but it is generally accepted that the rounder tone is what we should strive for, and the brighter, tinier tone should be reserved for specific spots in some pieces. To get that round tone, what you need to do is work on the point of contact. So that initial contact with the string should include the flesh and the nail at the same time. So when you put your finger on the string, make sure that it's touching the flesh and the nail, and then pluck it. And try it a few times. Try different angles just to get the most round tone possible. If I make an indentation of the string onto my tip of my finger, you can see where the string is, the angle of it, and where it hits the nail. When I pluck, even though it happens in a millisecond, the string travels from this part of the nail and glides over and finally releases just about here. That could be a little bit different for each one of you, but basically what you want is for the string to start with flesh and nail and glide over the nail before it releases. If you use just the nail, you'll get that teeny tone. And if you use just the flesh, you're going to have harder time plucking the string, and also for some you might actually hear the point where the string travels from flesh and then finally gets to the nail and then releases. So the best time is to have the flesh and nail simultaneously on the string, so there is no extra step in between. Once you get comfortable with getting that right point of contact, you need to work on all the fingers to make sure that they're balanced, so that the tone that you get out of the string is the same regardless of which finger you're using and regardless of which kind of stroke you're using, whether it's free stroke or rest stroke. So if I play with different fingers, free stroke and then rest stroke, free stroke with I, rest stroke with I, free stroke with M, rest stroke with M, and the same with A. So one more time. Ideally, you would have to have the same sound. Now, rest stroke will always be easier to do, warmer and louder, but you don't want your free stroke to be too drastically different from your rest stroke. When practicing, I would recommend practicing the point of contact on the open E string, because that's the string that will give you the hardest time. The third and the second string, because they are fatter, it's actually easier to get a nicer tone out of them. But the E string, on most guitars, it jumps out, and that's the one that you need to kind of work on, especially with your A finger, to get the most beautiful sound out of. So when practicing, start with the most difficult, and eventually, once you master that, it will be a lot easier to do it on the second and third strings.